I have to make a confession. I have been playing the Where Winds Meet closed beta over the last weekend and it was absolutely amazing. The game is bonkers nice. I didn't see many YouTubers talking about the game, so I thought I'm going to make a video on the good things, the bad things. I'm also going to talk about the monetization. Geld, meine Freunde, because that is probably the make or break for most of you guys. And I'm also going to talk about the MMO mode, which is actually in the game. To be fair, it was not available in the beta that I played, but the game is already out in China since December 2024, and I was able to talk to someone who had already played the Chinese version for 100 days, and he answered all my questions. So I'm going to forward this information to you. But before we get into the video, a quick thank you to NetEase, who moved mountains to let me play the game, because I am based in Europe and the closed beta was actually not available in Europe. So thank you again for letting me play the game. But that also means that I have no self-recorded footage on the PvP and the co-op content, but I can still talk about it. All right, let's talk about the game. Some of you already might know Where Winds Meet. It might be one of the most anticipated games for you, including me. And some of you might have never heard about the game, so I'm going to give you an overview on what exactly this game actually is. What's important to note is, as I already said, the game is already out in China since December 2024, and it currently has over 15 million players. That's a good sign. So they seem to very much like the game. The publisher is NetEase, and they call it an open world action adventure RPG set in ancient China's 5 dynasties and 10 kingdoms era. It's basically a game set in Wuxia fiction. If you don't know what Wuxia means, it's basically people that have superhuman martial arts abilities. Some YouTubers have called the game an MMO in the past, which is kind of correct, but also kind of not correct because it's somewhere in between. Well, in fact, there is a massively multiplayer mode, but it's more additional content. You still have to play the story part of the game. And besides that, you can jump online, do additional content and get additional rewards. Even though it's an open world exploration game, the focus is clearly on the action part of the game. So if you've played Sekiro in the past, you probably will like the game. That means you have an action combat system with light attacks, heavy attacks, you have blocks and parries, you can dodge, you can use abilities, combos and stuff like that. The game doesn't feature classes. Instead, you have 14 martial arts styles who are based on 7 different weapons. And you actively use 2 of these martial arts styles at the same time, and you swap between them mid-fight, and you should actually do that because they don't have a global cooldown on their abilities. So you use 2 abilities of one set, and then you basically switch to the other martial art and use the other abilities. What should be said though is that these martial arts sets do have some kind of role system behind them, because there are actual healing martial arts, and there's also a tank martial arts style that focuses more on not being interrupted and having shields and stuff like that. On top of that, you can equip 8 mystic arts. There are many mystic arts in the game, so you can learn a lot of them. They are very different, from shields to buffs to single target stuns, AoE attacks, combo attacks. You can really create your very own individual kind of set where you combine 2 martial arts sets with 8 individual mystic arts. For example, I found this Buddha's hand type of mystic art where I was able to use it on the ground to do like a 3-hit combo, but I could also use it in the air to do like an AoE attack on the ground. On top of that, you have inner abilities, and they function kind of like passive abilities. They give you huge buffs, but they can also alter your moveset. So basically one of your abilities can have 2 charges, for example. So these abilities are kind of your way to rounding up your build. Besides that, you also have gear in the game. They have set bonuses, they have elements on the weapons and the gear, and they also have accessoires. Something important about that is that this gear is not visible in the game. Instead, what you do is you design your character with cosmetics, and you can earn lots of them in game. What do you want? Are you okay? Can I help you? The game features a story with cutscenes and boss fights and lots of interactive scenes, and it's basically opening the map for you. And this map is filled with stuff to do, for example, world bosses, and I can tell you they are disgusting. I mean, like, they are fun and they are hard. I beat the first one. actually even underleveled, but I absolutely failed beating the second and the third one. And I think the game features way more world bosses, and I already failed at the second and the third one, so they are actually really challenging, but not in an unfair way. You just have to learn their patterns, and it's basically Sekiro bosses. If you need a break from fighting, the game features many mini games, from fishing to playing music, which is actually pretty fun. It was playing Guitar Hero in the game, so I and dozens of card games. You got chess as well in the game. You even got insult battles where you have to like insult NPCs and they are going to insult you back. It's like a rap battle where you try to be better at insulting the other person and win the fight. And there's also a healing minigame because your character can actually become sick. This sickness can get even worse, so other players or NPCs have to heal you. Of course, the NPCs want money for that. Other players can do it for free, but other players can also fail because it's a real minigame. Somehow like a very simple version of Hearthstone, for example. But I like it. It's a lot of fun, actually. Besides that, there is a building system in the game, so you can actually build your house, build your palace, build your tree house, whatever. The building system is pretty deep and you can really go nuts with it. I've seen crazy builds from the Chinese server. You can even disable snapping, so you can freely position walls or floors or whatever, so you can build some real nice houses. Besides that, there's also crafting in the game, so you can make your own buff food, you can craft gear, you can craft weapons, and of course you have to collect resources for that. You also have sandbox elements in the game, which includes killing NPCs, stealing from NPCs, getting a bounty on your head. And there are also factions in the game in the form of martial arts schools. You can actually join these schools. They have their own rules, they have their own story, and they also have cosmetics that you can unlock on different ranks in the school. So you can really live out that roleplay fantasy of being a disciple of one of the schools. And finally, there's one more thing to note. The game is playable completely solo, but you can also play it in co-op, and you can also go into the MMO mode, which basically contains hundreds up to thousands of players. All right, there are two important notes that I want to make. So the first one is the game is actually created to be playable mobile as well. That might actually scare some of you away, but I can tell you it's hard for me to understand how this game is playable mobile, honestly. I wonder how the hell is this technically even working on a phone to begin with? And secondly, I wonder how the inputs should work, because you have so many abilities. I mean, you have light attack, heavy attack, 3 martial arts abilities, 8 mystical arts, targeting, movement. I don't know how this should even work on a phone. I mean, I've clearly played with a controller and that works. And I could imagine playing it with a backbone in my bed, but having all the buttons on the screen is just hard to imagine. And I know this is a concern for many of you, including myself. Every time I hear mobile, I'm like, maybe this limits the game somehow. But what I can tell you is it does absolutely not feel mobile at all. Another thing that I want to note is that this is a free-to-play game with live service. So you're going to have seasons, you're going to have season passes, but do not click away. I'm going to talk about the monetization right now, and I can tell you the game is absolutely not pay to win. The game doesn't have any pay to win or any pay to progress options. Everything you can buy in the game is basically cosmetic, which is crazy because you can earn lots of cosmetics in game. You don't even really have to buy cosmetics to look like individual or different. You can earn lots of cosmetics in game by, for example, ranking up in a school, or sometimes the bosses that you could repeat drop boxes that have a chance to drop a specific cosmetic item. So I don't even think that you need to buy cosmetics, but they look awesome, so it's kind of worth to buy them. But besides that, there is no paid progression. This goes so far that Chinese players seem to actually be worried about the game. They were asking themselves if the game is going to be financially successful, if they have no pay to win. So this is really unusual, but it seems to hold up pretty well. I mean, it should, with 15 million players. And you see other games like League of Legends that survived by just selling cosmetics as well. So, however, one negative part, there is a stamina system. And many of you will hate that. So some of the content that drops the endgame loot and drops cosmetics, for example, like the raids or the repeatable seasonal bosses, they are kept by the stamina system. If you don't know this system, basically you have a set amount of stamina per day. This refills daily, and you can just grind content for 24 hours to have max gear and all the cosmetics in a few days. So they want you to come back daily and just do a few runs. The difference is that in most games, you could just buy the stamina. So basically, players that invested money were just able to still spam content and progress faster. However, this is not the case for this game. In fact, there are only 2 benefits that you get by investing money besides cosmetics. And these 2 are the Season Pass. So there is a free version of the Season Pass, and of course there's also a paid version. In the paid version, you will receive some cosmetics on top, and you will also receive 240 more stamina. The free version got 480 stamina, and you will receive 240 more in the paid version, which is not much. And the second thing is that you can buy paid mounts, and these mounts do have auto-pathing. They are able to carry multiple players, and they also collect materials that are near your character. And that's the only thing that I would say is a little pay to win. I'm probably going to buy a mount because I'm a lazy but still, you don't need that. But that's all that I could say about the monetization. It's really not that bad, honestly. I think it sounds pretty good. Now I'm going to talk about the good things in the game that I really liked. And as I just said, I like the monetization system. I think it's good. Having no paid mounts and no paid season pass would be even better. But I think that's such a small deal compared to like other games where you can just buy gear or whatever with money. So I think that's absolutely okay. Besides that, I can tell you the graphics in this game are absolutely amazing. I mean, you can already see it in the videos. It looks so good. Like normally I'm not acting like a tourist in games and just use the photo function, but in this game I actually made some screenshots just for using it as a desktop background, so that's probably a good sign. You can see every blade of grass, you can see every falling leaf. It's just crazy good. It looks absolutely stunning. What I can also tell you is that the character creation and character customization in this game is very, very good. You can really create your very own, very unique character. The game world itself is authentic, it's immersive, it feels alive, like it has wildlife, weather changes, the NPCs are talking. So you can really immerse yourself in that world. And one thing that I was completely shocked about is that every NPC you talk to has something interesting to say. Like they either have something to do for you or they just have anything very interesting to say. But let's talk about the combat system, because that's probably one of the most important parts about this game, most important part for some of you guys, and I can tell you the combat system is very fun. The animations look awesome, they feel awesome, it feels responsive. It's also very challenging, to be fair, but it's kind of challenging in a good way, so if you fail, you know why you failed, and you should probably just get better. And especially creating your very individual moveset where you combine mystic arts and martial arts set is just so much fun. Like creating your very own martial arts character, it's great. I love it. What I also love about the game is the traversal. So you do have quick travel. There are many quick travel points on the map. You also have mounts that you can use. And if you reach a certain threshold of exploration in that area, you can even walk over water, you can run up walls, and you could also use a crazy flying skill that just throws you across the whole map. It looks absolutely amazing. It's so much fun. And it wasn't even hard to reach that threshold of exploration. I just unlocked every quick travel point in that certain location and I was already able to use it. So that makes exploration far easier and far more enjoyable because you do not have to walk slowly across the whole map. You have lots of ways to traverse through the map, which is absolutely amazing. What's also amazing is the implementation of multiplayer. And oh boy, guys, we have to talk about something. Why do so many publishers get multiplayer wrong? There are so many action games, open world games, where technically there is co-op. But if someone joins you, he does not progress his own game, he does not get any rewards. And this game has done it right. You can join your friends and you can do most of the stuff in co-op. Sadly, not all of the stuff. There are specific story missions and side missions that you cannot do together, mainly because they are combined with some sort of cutscene or event happening inside the quest. That just would be very weird in co-op, so they decided to just keep it solo. But besides that, you can do the exploration together and everyone gets the rewards. Talking about the story, I can tell you the story in this game is very good. I usually skip cutscenes because I don't really care about the story, but this game actually made me watch the cutscenes because the fight scenes in these cutscenes were just very well made, and also the bosses were like absolutely insane, and you can even redo these bosses, which is even more insane. So if the story is an important part for you, you're probably going to enjoy the game. Besides that, I think that the game got some very new, interesting ideas. So one idea is that you can AI chat with NPCs. I didn't test it, so I don't know if it's good, but I just heard that this is doable. And another idea is that learning skills is not just opening a menu and pressing learn. Instead, you have to find an NPC who's practicing the skill and you have to watch him. It's called skill theft. So basically you steal the skill from them. Kind of. You steal the idea of them. It's different. It's cool. What I also find pretty enjoyable are the minigames. They are very well made. Most of them work like card games, and I think they are fun. Especially the healing minigame and the music minigame are very good. There are many minigame interactions with NPCs or other players that are very enjoyable. So if you need a break from all the action, you will find your break in-game. Another thing to positively mention is the progression. I think there's always something new you unlock. You never have the feeling of like playing hours of hours, not unlocking anything new. Actually, I unlocked so many new things, I didn't even know what to try first. So you have a very, very good sense of progression in this game. If you are into building systems, you will also like the game. I think the building system looks very solid, and I've seen some crazy builds on the Chinese version. So if you like building, you will probably enjoy it. And if you like PvP, you will also probably enjoy the game. I heard that PvP is pretty fun. Of course, gear is important for the PvP part, but skill is even more important. So you can still beat someone with better gear just because you are just a better player. So as someone who really loves PvP, I am very much looking forward to this. And now we are going to talk about the bad parts about the game. Something I didn't like, some things that bothered me. Starting with the inputs. Oh boy. And I think my friends hate me for that because I think that it didn't even bother them, but it bothered me a lot. Why is parry and block not the same button? Tell me, why? Like if you know Sekiro, blocking and parrying is the same button. Like if you get the timing right, you parry the attack. If you don't get the timing right, you at least block it. However, in this game, it's two different buttons. You either have to decide to block or to parry. If you block, you get reduced damage, which is still quite a lot. Or if you decide to parry, you either get the timing right and receive 0 damage, or you get the timing wrong and you receive 100% of the damage. Now some bosses have like a combo of 10 attacks, so you have to get the timings all correct. Feels like Clair Obscure. You could also dodge, which is easier, but parrying does a lot of posture damage to the enemy, breaking him pretty fast, so you should parry. So if you're listening, NetEase, please put it on the same button. I've put block on a button that I'm not even using because I'm just like, I either parry or dodge, and that's it. It just feels weird. I think there's room for improvements. And this also counts for fighting in the air. You only have one light attack that you can use in the air, which is, it's just there. You don't really need it. There are just very few abilities that you can use in the air. And I think it's kind of sad because most Wuxia games include fighting in the air. It's like something that is very Wuxia-like. Unfortunately, you don't have it. Maybe they include it in a later update, but it's not in the game right now. Another major issue with the game that I have is that schools are absolutely irrelevant. You can just earn some extra rewards. You can earn some cosmetics depending on your rank inside the school. But that's it. It's not really mandatory, especially when it comes to learning skills. You can learn skills in a school, but honestly, it's harder to join the school than to just find someone who is practicing the skill and just steal it from him. You can technically learn all the skills and never join a school. I love the sandbox idea behind these martial arts schools, like being a member of one of the schools, deciding which school I want to go to, like in Gothic, deciding about which camp I want to join. But this is just not mandatory in this game. It's absolutely irrelevant. So I wish they would change that so that you actually have to join a school and you have to steal the skills from other schools, but you really have to decide which kind of school you want to support. Something else that actually annoyed me was some of the exploration. Like you have some exploration mini games that are just for dumb people, honestly. Like, you have 3 statues and 2 empty slots where you can put 2 more statues, and then the riddle is done. So why put these riddles in the game? Just to keep me busy? I don't know. I hate exploration anyway. I hate it even more if it's just trying to keep me busy. But I don't even have to use my brain or fight anyone. It's just, nah, I don't like it. And what I also don't like is the stealth in the game. I just don't think it's well made. I mean, you can become invisible, you have to dodge eyesight of NPCs, you can attack from stealth and try to one-hit kill someone. But I think it's like, compared to any other stealth games, it's very, very rare bones. The problem is that stealth is mandatory in some parts of the game, so I think that makes it even worse. I don't like it. I absolutely don't like it. When it comes to the martial arts sets, I think that there's some wasted potential. For example, there are 3 different martial arts sets for the spear, and I was hoping that I can combine the abilities of these 3 sets. And besides the mystical arts, your martial arts sets are pretty fixed. You only have 2 abilities in your martial arts set. They are fixed and you will not learn any new abilities. If I choose one martial arts set, I have to use the 2 abilities that comes with the set, and I cannot combine it. Would be a little cooler if I could combine that. And another thing that is absolutely, I don't even know what to say about it. There's a problem in the Chinese version where a player could basically put a bounty on another player by investing real money. Compared to the other monetization choices that they have made for the game, this just feels off. And it gets even worse because you can see players that are in their own world in the online list. They're just minding their business, they're doing the story quests and stuff like that, but you can see them in the online list. And it seems like China got some players that just see these people in the online list, put a bounty on their head for real money, and other players can invade their worlds and kill them for the bounty. So you can be invaded in the solo player mode if you have a bounty on your head. So you basically just want to mind your business, do the story quests, suddenly you receive a bounty out of nowhere and players come hunt and kill you. So this is one of the only things that's really criticized in the Chinese version, and I really hope this is not coming to global. All right, let's talk about the last thing, and this is the MMO mode. At this point, a quick shout out to the Discord user Acid, who basically played 100 days of the Chinese version and answered all my questions about the MMO mode. So thank you again. So what exactly is the MMO mode? Well, I expected a fully fledged MMO sandbox experience, and that's also the reason why I am disappointed. The reality is somewhere in between. The MMO mode works more like an additional mode to the story single player version of the game. So you basically use the same character that you use in the offline mode, and you farm additional stuff in the online mode and go back to the offline mode. However, there are some things that are unique to the MMO mode. For example, you have dungeons, you also have 10-player raids, and this is probably also the part of the game where these roles come into play. Like, there are healing martial arts sets, and I think they are relevant for the raids. There is also a seasonal speedrun mode that you can do with 5 or 10 players, where you really want to find the perfect PvE set and the perfect strategy to beat the bosses as quick as possible and speedrun these boss challenges. Besides that, you can collect materials in the open world, but there is no open PvP, which is kind of sad. I was hoping for open PvP. I know many of you don't like it, so it's probably not going to be a problem for the majority of people watching this video, but I have to admit, I love open PvP. I like the thrill, I like the excitement. I'm not really getting it. However, there are 2 things that are open PvP, which are bounties. So if you kill NPCs, if you steal from NPCs, you can receive a bounty and other players can hunt you down. And it doesn't matter if you are in the online world or if you are in the offline world. If you have a bounty, other players can come and claim it. And the second type of open PvP is basically one specific school that is based on open PvP. So in most of the schools, you climb in ranks by doing anything. You also have to obey the rules of the school, and if you do that correctly, you can climb in ranks. But in this specific school, you can only climb until rank 3. And if you want to get a higher rank, you have to find another player of this school with a higher rank, and you have to kill him in the open world. So he will rank down and you will rank up. And I tell you, this is going to be exactly the school that I'm choosing, because I just think that's amazing. If you love open PvP, that's amazing. Funny enough, there also seems to be another school where fighting is absolutely forbidden. So if you want to fight another player of the same school, Even if it's just a duel, the game is encouraging you to not do this and play a mini game instead. And if you do so, you are losing some school credits. So I think that's kind of funny. It's like the goofy goobers version of martial arts schools, kind of. But the downside is, as I already mentioned, joining a school is not really important in the game. So you don't have to join a school. You can just progress without doing so. You're going to miss a few cosmetics, a few titles, a few extra rewards, but it's not necessary. Beyond that, you have the arena mode with 1v1, 2v2, 3v3, and 5v5. And you can also create a guild with your own guild hub, and you can fight guild wars with 30 versus 30 players. So I would call that large scale PvP, and this is actually in the game. And I'm pretty hyped about that, if I'm honest. So if you love PvP, you will not get open world PvP besides the bounties and this one specific school, but you can do arena and you can do guild wars, and I think that's amazing. Beyond that, of course, you can socialize in the game world, chatting, doing mini games, playing music together, playing cards, healing each other. So why am I disappointed? Well, I was hoping for a separate huge MMO mode where you have real MMO progression, and this is not the case. I was also hoping for like a real sandbox game where you are basically a disciple of a school and you have to rank up and fight other schools and stuff like that. Even though this is somehow in the game, it's not really a mandatory part of the game. So that makes me kind of sad. Another sad thing is that you cannot build in the MMO world. I can kind of understand that because you would probably need servers like on DayZ or Ark or something like that. So if someone joins who created like a huge Raumschiff of base, he would bring it into the multiplayer world, and that would just cause problems, because what if other players build at the same location? So buildings would overlap and stuff like that. So I can kind of understand that this is not inside. What I was actually hoping for is like a better version of Age of Wushu. I was a huge fan of Age of Wushu, but it sadly got taken down in Europe pretty quickly. I'm going to make another video on that. If that is already online, you can find it in the video description. I was a huge fan of Age of Wushu, but unfortunately, there's no other Wuxia game like that. The game was a very unique sandbox. Like, you really had to join a school. You had like 30 school specific skills, and you would spend your day in the school. You would train with other disciples. There was like a monthly tournament in the school where all the disciples fought against each other to determine the ranks in the school. And you would also attack other schools in 2 weekly events to steal their scrolls and learn other abilities. And that wasn't easy because they were defending their scripts. So if you were lucky, you would get 1 or 2 abilities a week. So after 1 or 2 months of playing, I maybe had like 7 or 8 skills from other schools. And I thought that was great because if you fought someone, you never knew what kind of moveset exactly this person is going to use, because everyone had different skills. You didn't feel like the main character. You felt like a part of this Wuxia world, like a real disciple that has his own way of becoming strong. And that's not the case for Where Winds Meet. In this game, you actually feel like the main character. You can just learn everything in a very short time, and everything else is just collecting rewards, collecting cosmetics, and yeah, like optimizing your end game gear and unlocking new seasonal abilities, but that's it. Let's come to a conclusion. I think that the game is absolutely amazing. I had a very good experience with the game. I love it. I think it's going to perform very well. It's probably going to be one of my favorite games, so I'm definitely going to really focus on that game when it comes out. I'm going to grind it. I'm pretty hyped about the fact that the monetization is very fair in this game. I think this is absolutely amazing. This is a great argument to play the game. Should you play the game? I think if you liked Sekiro, if you like Wuxia games, if you like action games, you should definitely check it out. Especially because it's going to be free to play, so you won't lose anything. However, if you are allergic to games as a service, like with season passes, with windows where you can unlock rewards, event windows and stuff like that, or if you expect like 100% of the content being available in single player, you will probably have to skip the game. But now I would like to know what you think about the game. Leave a comment below. Maybe I also got some wrong information. Maybe you got some other information about the game. If so, feel free to share it in the comments below. If you liked the video, leave a thumbs up, and if you want to see more, you can also subscribe to the channel. This is the first video on this channel, so I'm probably going to make way more videos videos on games that I want to talk about, because my girlfriend asked me to stop ranting about games at home. So I'm doing this on the internet instead, and you are probably going to suffer from that. So if you are voluntarily suffering, feel free to subscribe to the channel. I'm looking forward to see you in the next video. Have a great day and see you next time. Bye bye.